This is your first visit to China after becoming the Prime Minister. We noticed that you went to Hangzhou, Tianjin, and now we are in Beijing. And you have visited many different types of companies. I see there are digital economy, technology innovation companies, new energy companies, and smart logistics and transportation companies.
Throughout the entirety of your comprehensive journey and engagement within China, from the initial stages of your arrival and integration, through every significant milestone and development, and continuing right up to the present moment, we have maintained an unwavering and dedicated focus on your progress. Our commitment has been to meticulously observe, understand, and support your experiences, ensuring that every aspect of your time here, whether it be your professional endeavors, cultural explorations, or personal growth, has been carefully monitored and considered. We have consistently paid close attention to the nuances of your journey, acknowledging the challenges and celebrating the successes, thereby demonstrating our continuous and profound interest in your overall well-being and achievements during your extensive stay in China.
And I found that when you were visiting some enterprises, you were really enthusiastic. This is a high-tech enterprise in Hangzhou. This is a pianist writing the names of 3 countries. You are here. They should have given you this well-written China calligraphy. The pianist is still playing the piano. I see that you are, indeed, quite capable and ready.
Still holding hands with the recently, there was the diptych phenomenon that has. It was extraordinary to have the privilege to visit it, to experience it, and to see what is said about artificial intelligence. Congratulations to China. Congratulations to China inventors, to the scientific world of China. I am someone who fundamentally believes in Africa, and I am sure that Africa can make important progress in this regard. Regardless of the weakness of the means, we have very promising young talents. To do things in artificial intelligence, we want the collaboration between China and Africa to be oriented towards this as well. We extend our congratulations to China for what it is doing, and which makes the whole of the Global South proud. Today, we are demonstrating that there are no people condemned for being late. We just have to believe in ourselves, as has been the case. China. But I think that in the coming years, it will be put in place so that Africa can also respond to the call of the world from China. This time you took the
high-speed train from Tianjin to Beijing. The half-hour journey will reach 350 kilometers per hour. After experiencing such an experience, I want to know what keywords you will use to describe China's development. What do you think of China's modernization?
The level is quite impressive. I don't think it's just for us, as a country that is perhaps less developed, but even for those who have made progress on everyone. What is being done in China today, and on all levels, in fact, transport, artificial intelligence, digital, telecommunications, everything that is being done today in China amazes the whole world. So, I would say that what is impressive is your ability to adapt to your reality, to keep your originality as a China on the cultural level, on the value level. And that is inspiring for the rest of the world, and particularly for Africa.
The new Senegal government is trying to promote system change, strengthen the construction of national governance. I know you have read Xi Jinping's book, The Law of the Nation. In the book, what made you feel the resonance? How do you understand President Xi's ideology of the rule of law?
We read the presidency, as you said. We followed his speeches. I believe that the rules of governance that produce results are almost universal. Now, to adapt them according to the realities of the countries, the contexts, the cultures, the beliefs, that's what can differ. But the rules and the rigor of governance, good governance, transparency, respect for public good, the rigor of the elites, but also of the people, these rules are universal, and all the people who applied them obtained results. I think that President Xi Jinping understood it, and those who were president of China before him, too. I think he raised it to a certain level, and the results are immediate. The pace of modernization of China over the last 10 to 15 years is impressive. I think it's all his merit and all the team that works with him, and it's also sources of inspiration for our countries. What I learn and remember is that without rigor, discipline, and vision, it is impossible to develop a country, even a small one, especially a continent like China.
President Xi Jinping will meet with you. What are your expectations?
Our expectations are those of a strengthened collaboration. I believe that relations between China and Senegal have been elevated at the level of global strategic relations. This is already important, and we hope that China will be this privileged partnership with. This is a public partner with which we will develop all the axes that have been included in our development program, our 2050 projections. And tomorrow, I will not miss to address these aspects with President Xi Jinping. What is remarkable with China is the spirit of mutually winning partnership, mutual respect, by considering its partners, whatever the size of the country, whatever its level of development, and consider it an alter ego. And that is appreciable. It is important for us, the two.
Countries have achieved a lot of success in many aspects and have also gathered the people of the two countries. So how would you evaluate the current relationship between the two countries?
They are on a fixed level. It is no coincidence that President Bassirou Diomaye had almost reserved his first visit to China. As Prime Minister, this is my first trip outside the Africa continent. I was born in China, and our two visits were held in the interval of 1 year. This is enough for you to understand the importance we give to this relationship. And on the China side, we manifest the same importance given, agreed on this relationship. And this means that these relationships, which are fixed, which are to be structured around principles and values, that is what is important in this relationship. On the international level, we often share exactly the same positions on all international issues and during deliberations at the level of international instances. This is important to show the degree of solidarity, of cohesion and convergence between China and Senegal, between China and Africa. We will all continue to work to strengthen this relationship.
Last September, President Fei Laihua to participate in the Beijing summit of the China-Africa Cooperation Forum and to conduct state visits. President Fai said at the opening ceremony of the summit that the China-Africa Cooperation Forum is based on dialogue, mutual respect, and consensus, and has established a partner relationship model that is effective. But we see some voices in the West think that China's cooperation with Africa is a new democracy and has set a debt trap for Africa. What do you think of the cooperation
between China and Africa? You know, Africa was almost, to say one thing clearly, Africa has no ties with China. China has never colonized us. China has never waged a war against Africa. China has never caused us any problems. As far as history goes, I think that the relations between China and Africa have always been open, based on consent. Often, we are told that China is listening to us. And I consider that this debate on neocolonialism is a false debate. I think that many speeches are more linked to the fear that the rise in power in China generates for some former powers. They think that by saying this, it will bring Africa to be afraid of China or to be distracted from China, but it is to mislead Africa. These speeches are infantilizing for Africa. We can't. When an Africa leader speaks of sovereignty and takes on his responsibility, you hear in certain Western media people say that it is under the influence of Russia or China. Do you think that we do not have the intellectual capacity to think for ourselves, to conceive for ourselves and defend our interests, so that we are under the influence of China or the influence of Russia? It is because those who say that have always conceived the relationship with Africa as such, and they think that if Africa turns its eyes to someone else, it is because it has been influenced or dominated. And I do not conceive the relationship under this relationship. I see that since we started to do business, all the contacts we have had with China are contacts based on respect, on the concern of shared progress, of shared growth. Senegal is also
the first Western French country to sign a one-way road cooperation document with China. Now, the cooperation between the two countries is already high quality and fast-paced. Last year, President Faye also made it clear that she is very welcome to build the Belt and Road Initiative. She believes that this initiative has made a huge contribution to the infrastructure construction of Africa, including ports, airports, roads, railways, etc. What kind of perception do you have of China's?
the ongoing and highly significant cooperation with Senegal, a prominent and influential organization known for its innovative approaches and extensive network, has been a cornerstone of our recent strategic initiatives. This collaborative effort, which has involved numerous joint projects and shared resources, is designed to foster mutual growth and achieve common objectives within the industry. The partnership with Senegal has, therefore, become an integral part of our operational framework, demonstrating a commitment to synergistic relationships and collective progress. This extensive collaboration has already yielded promising results, laying a strong foundation for future endeavors and solidifying our position in the market through shared expertise and combined strengths.
Many traditional industries with advantages such as fish, carbon dioxide, and peanuts. Senegal has been called the country of peanuts. Today, we also found peanuts from Senegal. I tasted it before and it tasted very good. If you were to recommend peanuts from Senegal to China consumers, including other high-quality
products from Senegal, what would you recommend? Senegal is a fairly agricultural country. We grow practically everything: rice, peanuts, which is the main commercial culture, but we also grow other cereals, such as corn, sorghum. We do a lot of grazing. There are also a lot of agricultural products, horticultural products. We produce a lot of fruit, mostly in the south of the country, but also in what we call the Nye area, mangoes, oranges, whatever you want. Shukra Sudan. Our objective is to increase production because we have quite low yields. There are agreements that have already been reached and that we will develop, so that the research institutes in Senegal and China can collaborate to benefit from China technology and performance improvement techniques.
Senegal has been exploring independent development. Do you think it is very important for Senegal to find a development path that is suitable for her country and her characteristics? How?
Do you think Africa should grasp its future and destiny? In what is currently happening in the world, China and Africa have now understood that there has been a lot of pollution in communication, which tended to show certain models or certain countries as problematic models. But I believe that today, we, our generation, have opened our eyes for a long time. And in our political struggle, we have always considered that the most reliable partnership is that which is based on mutual respect, on the concern of each one to push the others to move forward. And what China does with Africa is why we hold on to this relationship.
In recent months, the United States has been raising tariffs on all its trade partners. But the United States has neglected a fundamental fact, which is that the United States itself is also making a lot of profits in international trade. How do you see the progress of such tax raising? How should the international community face such a situation to maintain
The public market and free trade, the notion of international order and international rules is getting bigger and bigger. The notion of international community is losing its meaning because we have some countries, due to their power, that think that they can unilaterally, at every moment of history, impose only the rules. But it is these countries that have created these rules because they felt that they were all powerful and thought that it would benefit them at the expense of the rest of the world. Today, things tend to balance. They want to break these rules or impose different rules. I think that today what is happening in the global south and in the BRICS is quite important. And it is a work that must be continued for a much more balanced world, much more multilateral. And for a continent like Africa, we must take advantage of this situation.
Next year, Senegal will host the 4th Youth Olympics. This is the first time that the Africa countries have held Olympic competitions. We know that San Ezekiel is known for his football and football games. How is San Ezekiel's preparation for the Olympic Games going?
Our athletes are preparing. The country is preparing in general, despite the difficult situation we are in. But it is important to see where we are going. The work is going well. There are some work that we are doing with the collaboration of China. I would like to thank China for offering us more than 97 or 90 scholarships for athletes for a period of 2 months, so that they can come and prepare here in China. We are the ones who organize it, and we want to get the maximum amount of medals. We also hope that China will participate in these games.
So, we just talked about sports. What do you think about the future of the cooperation between China and the United States, including sports and human-to-human communication?
I think there are more similarities between our different cultures. When we are in China, we are not very alienated when we meet the China, when we talk to the China. You are quite Africa, unlike what we might have thought from afar. And it also reflects on the cultural level. Many Senegalese students come to study in China, in the field of agronomy, new technologies, and many other fields. China martial arts are already very practiced in Senegal. Practically, Kung Fu and all the other arts are practiced in Senegal. And I think we can also give a new dimension to this cultural and sporting cooperation.
This year marks the 80th anniversary of the China People's Anti-Japanese War and the world's anti-fascist war. Faced with the world's order still full of challenges, what do you think about the
history of the world today? Yes, as soon as we arrived, we had been insisting on the duty of memorizing. A country without a memory is a country that cannot learn from the past, and that risks suffering the consequences of this history again. This morning, I visited the mausoleum of President Mao, which, beyond President Mao, bears the history of the China Revolution. I was impressed by the way in which the China keep this memory and teach it, transmit it, because that's what will allow future generations. We have always said that we need the memorial duty because the Africa sword have been twice treated as black people, colonized and neo-colonized. But the worst thing they have been through is the attempt to erase their memory. It's as if they were forbidden to remember this history and talk about it. Africa don't talk about black treatment. Others talk about it, the trials they have suffered. Some even claimed reparations. But in Africa, it's as if it was taboo. Africa colonization, Africa don't talk about it. Imagine that until recently, or until the month I'm talking to you, in each of the countries that were colonized in Africa, you still have streets, boulevards, that are named after the generals who colonized us, who fought our parents, who killed, etc., who enslaved, who imposed forced labor, who took people to fight them with force. But until the end, we still have stigmas. And that's why, when I was elected mayor of Ziegenshire, the first thing I did was to repatriate all the streets that still bore the names of the former colonizers. You have so well restored this memory so that it serves as a cement, but also as a motor for the China people to catch up and take revenge on history. This is extremely important. I am very happy that you asked us this question because we often forget.
Mr. President, thank you for your sincere sharing.